Hello and welcome to the ORCA pod covering Sydney Survivor. We've got a fantastic episode lined up covering the very, very early swap of this season. We'll be getting everyone's takes on that. And we will later on have the poor unfortunate boot of the swap screw, my brother from a different mother, TK, to clarify for all of those that have been sending me the DMs. No, we are not actually related. He just looks a bit like me and plays way too hard like me. So, there's a lot of similarities, and I'm sure we're keen to get into it with him. But no, we are not related, so there will not be favoritism. And join me with me this week is the original Orcas back together for the first time since we finished covering Canberra. Let me first welcome in Annabel.
Hello! Did someone say Apex Predator? We're here.
Do you think we can make TK a bit of an Apex Predator? I don't know. You come
Absolutely. I don't know who else is currently watching $1 Million Island, but I was living for it this week when Tim, a contestant, gave a shout out to Woofy. Living for it.
Did he really? I haven't been watching $1 Million Island.
He did. He said, "I'm Tim, I'm here, and I'm the Apex Predator."
Did he actually know Wolf, or is this like a...
No, I just think that there's a certain kind of person who thinks alike.
Did he reference orcas, or did he go for a more traditional apex, like a lion or such?
He didn't give us a specific apex predator. He just said he's the top of the food chain.
Easy now. Okay, interesting. Well, today we're covering the swap, and TK, who we'll have on later, who of course was not the top of the food chain. In fact, he got dramatically swap screwed in the worst way. And look, there were 3 people that got swap screwed, and he's the one that went home. So there's reasonings for that. It's not just on the swap screw. But is there a more brutal way in Survivor to be in a good position? He was sort of not in a great position, but he wasn't going next, most likely, on blue, and then to get swap screwed. As someone who was sort of swap screwed yourself, but not really, but sort of was, do you have a lot of sympathy for TK?
We will be discussing that when we get to it, CK. I say we bring in the true apex predator of the Orca pod, the man always on top and taking up the most amount of airspace.
He's not here.
I know. I'm saying bring him in. Drum roll for him.
He's not there. He's not in the air.
Max, get on the podcast. What are you fucking around at? He's literally in the other room.
I have no idea what he's not available.
Max!
All right, and here comes Max as dramatically introduced.
Look, if I'm not going to be saying much, I may as well have a dramatic entrance. That's the least I can do, can't I?
You're warming us up here with your luke. Actually, 2 weeks ago, Max had some fantastic takes. They weren't actually lukewarm at all. It was he was heating it up.
Look, I've been doing my homework. I've been doing, I went to podcast school for a couple of weeks in the off season, and hopefully it's paying off. That was a big lie.
Well, I've also gone to school. I have, for the first time in my podcasting history, taken some notes. So we're going to see if that's better than me just like randomly spitballing stuff that I vaguely remember from something I watched a week ago while slightly intoxicated. So we'll see if that improves the coverage. I'm not sure that it will. But I have some notes. And why don't we start at the beginning of the episode? That's not normally how we do it, but let's go with it. The first thing that I had is Joseph told the camera that his goal is to play he didn't say this, is me now paraphrasing him, a perfect game. He wants to get 0 votes the entire game. Presumably he wants all the votes at the end of the game, not a 0 vote finalist. Is that a ridiculous belief to have, that you want to achieve a 0 vote perfect game?
I mean, if you're sorry, Max, you go.
No.
I insist.
All right, it's gonna sound silly now. No. I think it's an ambitious goal. Who doesn't want to play a game of Survivor and have a perfect game and come out on top like that? It's very, very tricky. And I feel like Joseph was punching for the moon and he could fall short at the stars. We'll see how he goes.
Okay, so an actual answer. Joseph, what a king. Let's start the podcast. Trans rights are human rights. We love it. Joseph is an absolute legend. And if anyone could play a perfect game, I'm sure it could be him. Shameless Joseph Simp over here. And we already know from his swap tribe that everybody on his new tribe wants to work with him. So, CK, is it a little bit ambitious for you to play a perfect game? Yes, that would be
everyone
delusional.
wants to work with him. This is an absurd statement.
For Joseph, no, he can do it.
I just think it's an absurd strategy to have. Like, you should never be thinking about trying to run a perfect game because you might get votes. Don't worry about it. Like,
you are the one putting these words in his mouth. He's like, I would love to, and I am so far. No one's put my name down yet. I think you're the one who's overplaying this piece.
No, he said, I want no votes, and I'm going to quote him on it. And yes, he didn't say perfect game, but it was implied, heavily implied.
Okay.
He's a lawyer. He understands implication of terms.
Lawyer in the Cayman Islands, I'll have you know.
What? Really?
Yeah, he's in the Cayman Islands.
Is living it up or like embezzling people's money?
I mean, both, probably, let's be honest.
CK, why don't you change it up? You're just stuck in the top floor of a corner office. You could be living in the Cayman Islands as well. What's the go there?
That'd be nice, to be honest. But then after this podcast, Strange Hours, he recently moved there, Danny says. So he's actually in the Cayman Islands. This is fascinating.
Yes.
Fascinating information.
Legend.
Okay,
the other thing that started off while we're still at the start here. So we have everybody running around talking about the Amanda vote. And we also hear from Joseph that it was actually on the walk to Tribal where him and Leah came together and put that together. So we knew from last episode that it was Leah pushing for it. I thought it was really great on Joseph's part to kind of be the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, look, Leah's a big personality, a big target. Everyone was pulling it back to Leah. Leah was herself saying that was my move. What a great move. Like, you don't really want to be seen as the architect of big moves at the second person who goes out. Like, that's not how you want to be seen.
Let alone the move was orchestrated in the walk to Tribal as well.
Yeah. That you have that level of power. You don't want people
or the walk or when they were sitting down. I'm not sure.
I think it was the walk, and then like they passed it down the line while they were at Tribal.
Look, that's just masterful play. No. I'm taking shots now. No, we heard that in the confessional. It was a Joseph and Leah organization, and they did it. Especially in such a chaotic one-day game. We know how it's Survivor on crack. Everything's fast-paced. And to pull something like that off, especially getting out someone who they considered to be a big social threat was a strong move. And
then, are we good with Red? Because everyone said it was a good move. We talked about that. And then we've gone to the edge of extinction. And apparently, JT is not salty. He's told us multiple times he is not salty. He just wants to get someone there to find out what happened to him. But he won't be salty about it. Let's be very clear. Not salty.
JT, not even in the game anymore, still serving up the best confessionals. Loved it. Loved that he's grilling Amanda for details, even though there's literally nothing Amanda can give him. Note that this was the follow-up after Amanda's boot episode, and it's still John who's getting all of the confessions, because that's how hard he's serving.
I know Amanda, I don't think even got to talk to us once from the edge. Only got previewed through John's lens.
It's all John's perspective on his island over there.
Can we get the Taylor Swift version of this where it's the entire game as seen through John's perspective? That's what we deserve.
I think we'll be getting a running commentary from him as they come in, and I'm sure he'll be layering into TK as he arrives to get that information about why he was voted out, because he was not playing too hard, and he's going to tell them that he wasn't playing too hard, so they know that he wasn't playing too hard. And I think that's going to go down wonderfully, like a giant glass of salt.
Honestly, he is the king Sydney Survivor deserves, frankly.
He's on his way to being Reem Daly-esque with this sort of content. Just making the edge extension was a horrible idea, and then Reem Daly went there and it's like, oh my god, this actually worked purely for this reason. And he could be that. He could be that.
There's a reason why John 10 hashtag John 10 kicked off, and it's not just from the first episode. It's clearly a ongoing phenomenon that we're going to be privy to every week, and love that for us. What if he makes it back in the game? What if he comes back and wins? These are all unanswered questions, and we're all for it. We are Team John, aren't we? I think.
He's delivering the goods on the edge. And I was just thinking about it. I'm like, oh, they're lucky they got someone so good as the first boot to provide that content. But then I started thinking about other LRG first boots. And like, could you imagine Scotty there just salting it up? Could you imagine JP on the edge of extinction? Like, it is a fine tradition of people that could have been first boots that would have just provided incredible content while present.
Oh my God, what an edge that would be.
So we moved from the edge, and now there's a lot of TK foreshadowing. I not only did I take notes, I actually watched it a second time, half of it, on like 1.5. So like I actually saw a lot of the foreshadowing in the edit. And TK is talking very clearly about how he believes it's going to be a red versus blue, which ultimately ended up being his downfall. But he very much thinks that it would be Lizzie or Danny that goes next. I think that Danny even they didn't swap. Let's say they didn't. Danny's going nowhere. I think it was going to be Lizzie or TK, to be perfectly honest.
CK, interesting you picked that up on your second watch. Someone of your Survivor IQ caliber, I would have thought you picked that up on the first attempt. Maybe drinking and watching episodes half cut is the way to go.
It is.
I
think
the context you're missing, CK, is if you look back to episode 1, everybody arrived quite early and got time to have breakfast with each other before the game even started. Danny didn't get there till really late.
Neither did John Tan. He missed most of that as well.
So the fateful breakfast, Thomas. So I think that really did start Danny on the wrong foot. And I'm really glad that she's getting a second chance with this swap.
So we get to the swap, and what do we think about the swap mechanic? I'm keen to get Max's lukewarm takes on this. Annabelle's maybe more warmer hot takes. Is random numbers they submitted when they put in their application a good idea for a swap breakdown?
My lukewarm take is that I love the fact that it was random. It was completely randomized and completely predetermined before it happened, which brings in the element of no matter what situation a particular contestant was in at the time, they've already selected their number, and what has happened has happened. So I like that aspect of it. There's no sort of outside influence. It's whatever was said is done, and the way it was distributed from the highest numbers versus the lowest numbers in the different tribes was pretty cool. And it's something we haven't seen before. There's my lukewarm take.
That's generous. I think, look, this is a lukewarm take because I think my take's going to be the same as most people watching. Random element, fine. Some off-screen pre-game thing that we then need to try and mangle and explain in the game, not good television. That's a no-no. That's a, what were you thinking? That's a, we don't need to see this again.
Why are they not pulling it out of a hat? Pull buffs out of a hat. Like, this predetermined number thing is pointless and unexciting. Don't like it.
Incredibly unexciting.
Look, it's better than what they did in Melbourne playing with fire. Sorry, Vince, who's getting his back up about everyone criticizing the Melbourne playing with fire swap because it was absurd and overpowered. Random is the way to go. I just didn't see the point in the numbers thing.
2 against 1.
So it did give us some good little content moments where TK once again said he picked 17, assuming that it was going to be an 18 per season, and that was all the people he was going to defeat. So there more foreshadowing about his eventual downfall in this edit. And Joseph's 666 was somewhat iconic.
I love Joseph. Have I mentioned
the exposed devil. We're for it. We're all for it.
Of the cast, Who do you think picked 69?
I was going to suggest that as well. And I'm sorry, Luke, I'm calling you out. No, Luke picked 420, but the masseuse definitely picked 69. That's my call.
Shane? Is Shane the masseuse? No. Shane,
Shane the masseuse. Shane the masseuse picked 69.
What number would you pick, CK, if you had the choice?
444.
All right. Any reason? Just like the number 4?
Yeah.
You know,
Annabelle,
this content is almost as good as Sydney Survivor.
This is a meta explanation of how boring this concept was and how it should be on TV. We're just being very meta about the principle, and we've just showed the audience this is irrelevant.
The only thing worse or more boring than the mechanism was how they decided to just randomly read who everybody on the red tribe was.
Look, I'm not saying...
Giving an element of suspense, it was just like, you're on the red tribe, and you're on the red tribe, and you're on the red tribe. It's like, well, I guess all the rest are going to be on the blue tribe.
Luke's not impressed with your take that saying he picked 420. He said he picked 500. Look, I'm not saying there was any production interference in this, but the whole concept is just rife for potential production interference. And that's, again, what makes it problematic. I'm not saying anything like that happened, but the numbers are completely undisclosed, and then they can just order them in whatever way they want and just say, this is the tribe. And we managed to get an even distribution of 4-3-3-4. And maybe that is, I'm not saying anything untoward occurred. I'm just saying it presents a question that can be asked. So,
great mechanic. Just on
the groups, we have on New Red. We have let's do New Blue first because they don't go to tribal, and we'll talk about them and the dynamics. Then we'll do the challenge, and then we'll do the whole New Red dynamics. On New Blue, from Old Blue, we have Danny, Michelle, Sam, and Luke. And from the coverage we've done so far, we saw those 4 as a pretty solid group. That, Lizzie was most likely on the outs, having voted wrong on the prior tribal with John or JT. And so I think they will be pretty tight. Then you have Joseph and Leah, who are incredibly tight, as we know from before, as we discussed. And then Shane, who's tight with his millions of advantages. Danny's commenting that it's a great swap for Danny.
Very good swap for Danny, and that's what we care about when it comes to a swap.
So how do you see these dynamics, Max, breaking out? Do you see those blues as tight as I do?
The core blue, the 4 blue there, strong. And as you said, great for Danny staying in that group, staying with the numbers. It would have been interesting to see what would happen if she was on the outs, as in if she was on the red tribe with Christy, TK, and let's say she took Lizzie's spot there. But with regards to that, so Danny's got herself, Sam, Michelle, and Luke as the OG Blue 4. Solid group of people to stick with, I feel.
And in terms of the Reds, who do you think's in trouble, Annabelle, if they go to trouble?
So we heard when those 4 were talking, and Michelle said quite assertively, and everybody else agreed, that it's Joseph who they want to work with. They have really, I think Michelle and Danny both had a really good vibe with Joseph. And I think Luke's a little bit worried about putting himself more out there. Sam's just an easygoing guy. So I'd say Joseph is looking pretty good. I worry for Leah because in her own tribe, people were looking at her as someone, other than Joseph, someone that they found a bit off-putting. And then Shane, even though, he's probably trying to massage everybody else, has 2 advantages at his disposal, an idol and a legacy advantage. So he's pretty safe anyway. So I'm very worried about Leah if we go to a tribal there.
I am just a little bit worried about Joseph. Like, I appreciate what you're saying. The comments were made, they like him, but he's intending to play this position hard. Unless he tries to push it on Leah and again, hides behind her. For example, he mentioned that he's considering throwing Shane under the bus a bit in terms of the advantages Shane has. I just feel that if he were to do that, that's slightly an incorrect play, because they will then be more worried about Shane's advantages, take the target off of Shane, who I think could otherwise have a target. And then they think, Joseph's the one, he's playing hard. He's the one trying to, shift Shane this way. Leah's just big and brash and we'll get rid of her whenever. Joseph is the subtle, strategic player they could be worried about. Danny mentions the Blue Tribe knew about Shane's advantage because she told him, and look, everyone knows he's got this advantage, and then he's being so cagey about it, where he's now told, at least admitted to Joseph, that he has it, but he still won't say what it is. So I feel like people are going to be worried about a target on Shane, which will blow back onto Leah or Joseph. I hear you about Joseph, but the smarter target actually is Joseph.
The smarter target's Leah. I mean, Thomas, this is team give Danny credit. This is a Danny simp podcast. Let it be known. She's my winner pick. I think Joseph is fine here. I think, if they're worried about Shane's advantage, they target Leah. That's why I'm worried for Leah.
I see it going the other way. We'll have to see on the next episode.
What's your take, Max?
Well, my take was it's also like Shane's advantage is exposed. We see later on in the episode where Ethan is telling the new Red Tribe about Shane's advantage, but also discloses that he thinks it's an idol. So that tribe now believes that it's an idol, even though they didn't know what it was. They've got the assumption that what Shane has in his back pocket is an idol. So that's always dangerous for Shane moving forward. He's always going to have that target on his back now, especially considering the fact that he hasn't admitted it directly to the tribe like Ethan did in the early episodes. So
should Shane be disclosing, at least to his Reds, to build some trust, or to the new Blues to perhaps build some trust, that he has a legacy advantage? Everyone knows he has something. You might as well let them know you have something that you cannot use. Particularly
terrible idea. Because I think the fact that it could be an idol is the only thing that's keeping him safe. I mean,
but he has an idol. He has an actual idol.
They don't know that. They don't know that.
Leah and Joseph weren't even Team Shane going into this. They were ready and willing to vote him out at the last tribal, and only didn't because Leah didn't like being bossed around by Amanda. No one's Team Shane where he is currently. You've got the four.
No one was Team Shane at the other tribe.
I'm not Team Shane. I'm not Team Shane. No one's Team Shane. Sorry, Shane. You're probably lovely, but
I'm Team Shane.
Shane's 3 kids are Team Shane. And that's it. His 3 kids are Team Shane, and that's it.
His kids are Team Shane. I think that the fear of him, everyone's like, oh, he's got a legacy idol. He can't do anything. Fantastic. Let's just get rid of Shane then.
Yeah, but who's he going to give it to?
Exactly. Now he gets to give it to someone. So not only am I getting rid of Shane, I'm also getting his legacy advantage. Amazing.
If you're Shane in this situation, and what advantage besides an idol and a legacy idol would you make up? Would you say you have what other advantages that we know?
I would say I got what
extra vote.
I got the same thing that Ethan got, and the idea was there was hopefully one for each tribe, and then so I've just got another one of those safety without power things.
No, I think he's playing it perfectly. I think the fear of the unknown and not knowing what he could have and not being able to plan and game around it is the best thing to do. I actually think he's playing it perfectly.
If as Thomas says, Team Shane is Shane his 2 advantages. If Shane, I don't know who Shane is going to leave the legacy idol to if he gets voted out, but I think he'll leave it to his other idol.
Well, hopefully Dr. John Tan.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. But I think my hot take here now is that I think Shane's going to get blindsided and go to the edge of extinction with 2 of his advantages in his back pocket.
I think he'll have to will the legacy advantage on vote out. I can't imagine.
But he's not going to be able to. Yes, he's going to have to bequeath that legacy idol, but he's still going to get voted out without using either of them. Well, essentially, an idol in his pocket.
He seems quite. Look, he's not a big Survivor fan. I don't even know if he's a filthy casual, so he's barely watched any. And he doesn't seem to be aware of his circumstances or the need to really play this art. Like, you're exactly right that he's doing. I think, Annabelle, you're correct about what you're saying he should be doing, and he is doing that. But I don't know if he's doing that with any intent to do it. It's just sort of happening.
T. And we did see Leah reassuring him immediately afterwards because Shane was very tight with Amanda. And when Leah was reassuring him and saying, look, we're still good, but I didn't like being bossed around, because Shane, I think, was he left out of the vote? I don't remember. Shane was
clued in on the walk, and then he was immediately sitting next to Leah at the end. So he was told.
All right. Okay. But he seemed completely happy afterwards. So yeah, I think he's a flexible player.
He's a fantastic player to have these two advantages, because Superfan Gamebot would be a bit boring, but he's just providing this sort of like they're all going to be blown away when he has a second advantage. They all know about one, but a second.
And I love how he found it by looking for his gloves that were in.
Was he actually looking for the gloves? I thought he was
I think he was looking for his gloves that were in.
Do you think this was fake puffer-esque?
Oh, look.
No, he's not as extra as you. It's Shane. And also, full disclosure, I don't know anything about Shane. I just heard he was a masseuse and saw the track pants, and I was like, that's a red flag.
Who wears track pants to Survivor?
Wow.
Max and Dale, that's who. Okay, so then...
yeah, thanks, Tom. Yeah, I'm sure he's a king.
We'll come back to the Red Tribe after the challenge. Let's jump to the challenge now. So I now need to retract some defense I applied to last episode's child puzzle they were permitted to do. The defense that I gave them was, and that poor excuse for a challenge, was that time is poor in these things. They're doing this in one day. They've got to power through these challenges. They don't need complicated puzzles. Speed and simplicity gets the job done. Understandable. So then they waste our time with this one-on-one soccer match that just went on and seemed even edited. So obviously went longer in the real time. Who thought this was a good concept?
If you want me to have my two... I've got some constructive criticism of the challenge.
You are the challenge
master. Challenges with, all right. In essence, the 1v1 soccer is just a fun activity at a kids camp. For a game where, especially this early in the game, at such an integral point in the game, being an early swap, you want to. And I'm just saying this in all. I'm sure they would have thought about this afterwards, but. With regards to a challenge having just one person from each tribe go up and participate, where you could only have a maximum of 5 people, even though there was 7 on each tribe, limits the people who might be on the bottom in that situation, especially with the 4-3 breakdowns of each original tribe colors, negates them from having a significant influence in the potential outcome of the challenge. So with this challenge, I would have suggested a more group-involved dynamic where everyone can participate to a point where they can determine the potential outcome of how the result is finalized. And
it's a great take. This is another non-warm take. It is a hot take. I love it.
It's just coming from experience with running a few one-day minis. And obviously, the next season of Melbourne Survivor. And
everyone should have a chance to save themselves. Everyone should have a chance to prove their worth to the tribe. Everyone should have a chance to fail and show that they cannot contribute to the challenge capacity of the tribe. That is an absolutely fantastic take. And it's a poor challenge regardless, but additionally poor to be placed at this position in the game.
It was probably a bit early. It was probably a bit early to be used. Great challenge for maybe a individual immunity where it's like sort of a knockout format. As I said, I've said what I've said, but it seems
like they spent a lot of time setting up. There was goals and crates and cones all over the place, like multiple balls.
I'm begging to jump in right now because I've got several takes about this challenge. And let's start with the cones. So the cones were indicating that there was a concept of in and out. I'm just saying the biggest thing this challenge was missing was Dom Pell. Because if Dom Pell was there is no way that those out rules would have been flagrantly abused. There was no concept of out. It was like if the ball went out, you could just chase after it, or someone would give you another ball. And it was like the first person to the out ball's the winner. What was that? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm the girly where her teammates would clap if I didn't run away from the ball. So I was never going to win this. But like, I'm sorry. If you've got to indicate in and out, then honor in and out.
And the biggest outtake from this, and it came down to the Matt versus Sam matchup, where I feel like, yes, well done, Matt, on getting the W on that. But I felt like Sam was kind of hard done by in this challenge, where the ball went out and then a different ball was kicked into the arena, which essentially took Sam offside, gave Matt the free run at the goals, essentially giving him an open goal to hit the target. So the one ball that was used in the challenge.
Production interference.
And that was something that I think it was just a matter of.
I don't know if you've applied for Brisbane Survivor, Max, but you're on your way.
Sam is one of my winner picks. Oh, yes, I have two, Michelle and Sam. I got to back him up there, but it was just like, and in these things you can't really adjudicate it. It's just an unfortunate thing.
You can't adjudicate in and out. In and out is the easiest rule to adjudicate.
I would assume they felt it was taking too long because it was a silly idea, and suddenly it's multi-ball, and the coins have become irrelevant.
Sam got stitched up on that one. He got caught out offside and allowed Matt to give us arguably one of the best celebrations of the season. With that was one of the notes I said. Great celebration by Maddie Peter. I loved it. It was amazing.
Maddie Peter's goal was the best goal of the whole thing.
Yeah.
I know it's bullshit, what happened to Sam, but it was a great goal.
It was a great goal. Sorry, Sam. You just got done on the offside there, but it was awesome content for Maddie P's highlight there.
And that's the two positives of this challenge. Number one, win for the gays. Matt and Joseph absolutely smashing it, and we love that. The other win was seeing
TK was pretty good. His showdown with Joseph, he was very defensive in terms of stop. He had a slide in to stop one of the goals. That was a good matchup, the TK Joseph matchup. That was the highlight.
That was good. That was good, and I enjoyed it. And that's the other thing that I thought was good about the challenge, was getting to see the people who had clearly played footy before versus those who hadn't. I mean, Ethan was out there flexing with his fancy footwork, which we live to see. And I was like, okay, I can see the kids who played indoor soccer in primary school versus us who clearly were not.
This is a controversial challenge. Malene is complaining about how Luke's ball hit the outer edge and it was counted. And you saw that happen because they're like, does that count? And they're like, yeah, that counts. And like, and then Danny's defending it, saying, this is still a controversial challenge 10 months after the fact or whenever this was. And look, Luke's little move through Malene's legs was actually pretty sweet. Like, he kicked it in between her legs, caught it, and then got the goal to win the match.
That was hot. Yeah. I was into that. I was very into that. I don't know, Melanie. I agree. Like, honestly, if bring Dom Pell to adjudicate, this would never have happened on Dom's watch.
It was also a massive point as well.
None of these people, Malene and Danny, didn't get out, yet they are like at each other about the rules.
It's because everybody
Malene was up against Luke.
How do we feel about the intergender match?
Competitor though, Annabelle.
Should it be intergender or should it be same genders?
Did they have? Oh, they did. Did they have enough men? No, Malene could have wiped the floor with Luke, obviously.
I think
there's another man that could have gone in that challenge. Like, it would have been.
You did win, Danny. You were great. You did.
Oh, no.
You smashed
You're
us.
right. They were out of men. You're right. They're out
Sorry,
of men.
Danny. Well done. I should have.
Oh my God. Sorry, Danny. I've only given you 6 to 7 compliments in this first 34 minutes.
All right. We're going to highlight the winners.
Danny, Ethan, you smashed Jazz. You beat it. All right. You beat it. Your competitive thing came out. You beat it.
We're going to say Ethan beating Shane. Well done. Joseph beating TK. Well done. Matt, controversial, beating Sam. Well done. Danny beating Jazz. Well done. And the controversial win with Luke beating Merlene. Well done. A little hot take coming with. I think we're passing on the challenge. Are we happy?
Yeah, we're done. Well, I've got one little thing to say about the challenge. If we're completely moving from the challenge,
go one more thing about the challenge, and I've got a hot take.
I don't like the host saying who's going to come over and get the immunity idol. He says, "Luke, come and get it. You deserve it," or whatever he said, right? Because Luke won the last point. I feel whoever goes up and takes that thing is part of the social strategy of the game. There's an understanding of who probably did the best in the challenge, and they should be the one who gets it. But when I played, I only took it by the time we were about to go to merge, right? And I didn't really deserve to take it any other occasion. And in fact, I would encourage people to say, "Oh, you should get it, Rosie, on the ropes," or "You should get it, Tash, from when she threw the balls," because you were amazing. It's a way of complimenting people and saying how well they did. There's a social strategy in everything in Survivor, including that who gets the thing. So don't like the production calling out Luke to get it. That's just my take.
Fair.
No comment.
I want to talk about Luke's confessional straight after the challenge, and I have a few points regarding Luke and his situation. Firstly, the one thing I have to say, I loved Luke's casual approach to winning, where he's no celebration, just humble. Love that. See a bit of Max in the.
This is you.
No,
Luke
would have been consciously mindful of the fact where he's showing no celebration, just to dumb down the situation of the win. I loved it. Next, he talked about the fact that he knows that he's a challenge threat and he's been perceived as one. But given the context of the new tribe swap, he's 2-all. His tribe has the numbers. So what was that? He's got the he's on OG Blue. He had
Danny,
Sam,
and Michelle. It's a
he
good
has
group.
the 4 here. Does he? If going back, I'm not sure how he goes or what happens. If Luke decides to throw that challenge, just intentionally, but make it look competitive, he can then go take his tribe and vote out a potential new red. And it also limits his visibility of being a challenge threat, losing in a clutch situation against Merlene, and he could have then pushed that challenge threat overlook towards Merlene as someone that can beat him. I'm just talking through Luke's own standing in the game. There was a few things that potentially could have happened differently had he looked at the situation in a different perspective. Obviously, the game's going so fast and a lot changes, but what are your thoughts on the way Luke approached that situation?
You're just saying, should he have thrown the challenge?
One, should he have thrown the challenge and also made his threat level look weaker than what it already is?
Multiple strategies he could employ by throwing that challenge for his own benefit. I think it's a good take. I think the problem is that you're at 14 and everyone knows Shane's got something and they could play Russian roulette with that thing. You're not going to feel good about going to tribal. That's what I would say. Strategy is correct, but it's ballsy to go when you know Shane's sitting on a pot of gold.
Max is surfing it tonight. Can we just say,
why aren't you putting up the
this is what it was
complimentary
the other
comments
episode
today?
too? He's on fire.
I told you it's podcast school, mate. No, but it's. I reckon everyone, as we've all played, we look at different situations differently. I wonder if that was something. The thing is, I don't know the outcome of Luke's game. This could have been the right move, but if something had changed, if he would have looked at it differently, it would have been interesting to see how he purely has the decision to control that outcome of who wins this challenge as well.
Yes.
He's in a powerful position.
And look, he seemed to have a good relationship with TK. He knows Lizzie from outside the game, from orgs that they've played, from the interview we had with John Tan. So there's a connection there potentially. And is he losing a close contact? Is he losing someone? Maybe he thought they'd vote out Christy, but I never really would have called that happening. So maybe he didn't care for TK or Lizzie, so he doesn't really care, and he's more worried about Shane's idol. But
He specifically said that he was worried about TK and Christy. It was Lizzie who he didn't worry about. But yeah, I agree with what Luke just said. I mean, Max and I could not wait until this podcast to start gossiping about this challenge. So we had a little pre-pod rant about this. And I do think that, I mean, Luke couldn't know in that moment just how many advantages Shane has. But I do think that the Shane factor makes things a little bit scary with them going to tribal. But yeah, I don't disagree, Max. Like maybe in that moment, with knowing what you knew, that was optimal.
And thank you, Luke, for your comment. Like it makes sense. Like it's a tricky
It largely
situation.
comes down to how much he cared about TK to risk an idle play. So, you know, as you say, we've played and everyone kept asking Max and I from Melbourne, why didn't we throw challenges like in the same situation? And I would have thrown a challenge for you, Annabelle, as would have Max. But I wasn't throwing shit for Rosie or Ma. They weren't going to work with me. So what do I care? And I know Kate's sitting there with an idol she found in front of everyone. Like, why would I risk this? But for you, I would have because you were with me. So it depends on how he really felt in terms of closeness about Lizzie, Christy, and TK.
Yeah, T.
Okay, so we'll put blue to one side. We'll go to red when they swapped, and then they're going to have their post-challenge thing. TK immediately made himself a target. Not even before challenge. Like, he's gone up to Ethan and Maddie P, and he started throwing out like, oh, I'm keen to work with whomever. I'll jump ship. And then they immediately, I don't know if he said that or not because they didn't really show it that much. But then they immediately just trashed him to Christy. Like immediately. Like, yeah, TK's already come to us and he said he's going to flip to us. So, you know, and she's like, yeah, you can't trust him. He just throws out names. I'm like, you're done. You were done in that conversation, my brother. I'm sorry. That was the end of TK. That one conversation.
You go, Max. You go, Max. You go.
I was going to say, I love TK's passion and whole like fighting hard, playing hard mentality.
It was made up. The Ethan Maddie P thing was made up. So they were lying.
We don't see him say that. So yeah. in defense of TK, and I do think that he didn't execute socially in some of the ways he could have. I put a lot of the blame on this on Ethan. So Ethan's one of our strategies.
Ethan's DK. I think he means TK, but you know, we're the same person.
Okay, all right, sure. So he does say that. Okay, yeah. Whatever. But in defense of TK, we see Ethan coming on pretty strong in the conversations that he has with Christy and TK, where immediately after the swap, like they're walking back to camp, Ethan's straight on TK. He's like, what happened at your tribal? Tell me what was going on. Have you been talking about this? Have you guys been talking about advantages? Christy, have you been talking about advantages? Who has your advantages? So I feel like Ethan was really leveraging his position with knowing that he had the numbers and knowing that he had that safety to like really try and squeeze them, put them on the back foot and give them whatever they could, even if it put them in a compromising position. So I do think that Ethan opened up the floodgates for TK to fall on his knees and say, bro, like, I'm with you.
The thing is, Ethan did it so well, and he says he's new to Survivor. He doesn't know who Christy is. But if you know who Christy is and you watched her play during Australian Survivor, then it was actually the perfect thing to do with her because she will happily just jump to the other numbers. And they made it very clear that he and Maddie P are close, that they're close with the girls. They're a pair, we're a pair, but we're a tight four. So that makes sense for all four of them. It seems to be legitimate. They all mentioned that in their confessionals, that they didn't have a little chat before they swapped, that they wanted to work together for at least the next vote. So they've both got their like number one, plus they're a group of four. Christy, from the way she played in Australia, is she will read the room, she will read the numbers, and then go with what needs to be done to make the next group. And she does that by throwing her vote on TK, if we jump to the vote, she knows what's happening. Lizzie, once again, votes wrong again. 2 from 2 from Lizzie, voting for the person, Marlene this time, voting for Danny on the prior occasion. And it's smart for Christy to do what she did. And if Lizzie knew what was going on, she probably should have done that too. So it was the right call from Ethan. And for someone who hasn't watched apparently almost any Survivor at the time he's playing this, which I find so hard to believe. And he's also only just started watching it. His takes on the other show are very, very good. He's got a very good Survivor brain for someone who hasn't watched a lot of it.
And don't forget, he's only 12. Like, he's in here playing with a bunch of adults, and he's 12 years old. So it's actually incredibly impressive that we're getting so many strategic confessionals from him. No, I'm obsessed with Lizzie. I thought that it was a mistake from Lizzie to not we haven't seen anything from her going to Original Red and saying, look, I was on the bottom of my last tribe. No one wanted to work with me. Like that was a good, especially as an org player and having had experience. You'd think that she would have known that this was Lizzie's saving grace. She could have been next to go. I mean, Matt was well and truly ready to continue the Sydney Survivor trend of eliminating every Asian from this game. We saw him raise her name as someone to go out next. Like, she really did have this opportunity to become the Christie, and she kind of blew that.
Yeah. I feel like that Christie was always going to be the Christie, particularly Pikachu. Matt Pitcher was obviously doing his Pikachu face. The ability is getting to speak to her now. And then Marlene was also a huge fan. And so once they had two people on both sides of that little group and the two pairs wanting to keep Christy and get to know Christy, like I said, people would want to do in the cast review. Everyone wants to make friends with Christy. And if you vote her out right away, you spent 5 minutes with her and you're not friends. So yeah, Christy's always going to survive.
Exactly. You want to, especially, sorry, CK, but he's shadowing what you're going to say.
He's interrupting me now.
Hey.
You're getting ahead of yourself, Max. A few good takes and you think that you get a voice on this podcast.
Look, the head's ballooning. I tell you that.
Continue.
As you,
Give my blessing.
Thank you. That's out of all the podcasts we've done, CK, this is the biggest compliment I could have got. It's just the bless. All right, I'm waffling. As you said, if you're playing with a winner of Australian Survivor, you've just swapped, you're just in a tribe with her, you're not voting her out. You want to play with her. You want her to know your name. You want to at least work with her and just pretend that you're actually on the show. It's such a cool experience playing an a LRG, and then to be playing with an actual Survivor and have that opportunity to vote someone else with her, vote someone out with her is pretty cool. And given everything that's going on, that's probably the highlight of most of the people who've played this game's thing. If you were to be honest with it.
I once messaged you guys because Andrew Savage liked one of my tweets. So yes, this is what people do if you're a super fan. She's not going anywhere soon. Agree with your take, Annabelle and Lizzie, about Lizzie, but maybe for Lizzie, her situation was it was clearly TK quite early, and so it would more depend how she plays the next one, so to speak, and as opposed to just being on the TK bandwagon.
It's too late at that point. If you don't go in from the start and say, my old tribe's dead to me, they voted, I was the only person left out of that vote, I'll do whatever you want, Christy, TK, I don't care, I'm with you guys, they mean nothing to me. If you're not saying that from the first vote, you don't get another shot to say that.
And to be honest, I don't know what more could have been done, because even if she did do that, I still think they're keeping Christy over her.
Yeah, probably. So I wanted to take a moment to talk about Jazz and Marlene. So I feel, we see Jazz is involved in a lot of the strategy chats. She manages to be involved in almost all of the conversations. When Matt tries to put Lizzie's name forward, it's Jazz who pushes back on that and says, no, I think it should be TK. Though I'm a little bit concerned about Jazz's decision, and it was, I think, Jazz's unilateral decision to go to Old Blue and feed them this men versus women with a split tribe narrative that then Ethan and Matt adopt. Because once you get the ball rolling on that and you seed that idea, it doesn't take a lot for that to then become reality. And we start to see that a little bit more where Ethan half considers the idea, even though he doesn't perhaps do it seriously. And I'm just concerned for Merlene, because I feel like it's probably Merlene and Ethan we already know, butted heads a little bit on Old Red, where Merlene was kind of coming for Ethan. And my concern is that it's Jazz is the one who put out this idea. Now it's become reality, and it's Merlene who's going to cop the shit.
Yeah, except that I think with TK going, it limits the risk profile of it. Like if TK was still there,
it does not.
I did see.
It all takes a discussion. They can then get rid of Lizzie, and if Christy's siding with the boys, because now all the Blues are in a position where they're saying, "Am I closer with the men or with the women?"
Yeah, the 2-2 is a bit. The 2-2 is a problem in that way, particularly when they get to 5. Someone was saying that TK wasn't very good at the challenges, in the concept of, we should keep TK or keep a man. I think it was the classic keep the man around, because the men are typically good at challenges, which is nonsense. Some men are very good and some men are not. Let's get real. Just like some women are very good and some women are not. There's not really a gender bias for one-on-one soccer or 3-year-old based puzzles. So who was that? Ethan saying that they should.
It was Jazz.
And Ethan was perhaps trying to say, I think he tried to maybe say that TK should be kept. But then they're like, who do they have over there? Actually, it doesn't matter. Like, I think he backed down on it quite quickly. What do we think about TK's little pitch to, I think, Jazz, Merlene, maybe it was to some of the others, where it was essentially like, basically, you guys should play big games because I want to vote for someone. Hang on, maybe I didn't make something clear here. Is this a full cast jury? Because otherwise this makes no sense.
It was worse than this. So he goes to them and he says, for Blue, it makes total sense for us to stick together as Blue and try and get Red to flip on each other. But, and no further examples or explanation, Red, it totally makes sense for you guys to flip on each other and come side with us.
Okay, so we've been told it is a full cast jury. So now it makes a bit more sense why he was talking about who he would vote for. But I still think that Final 14 is not a time people are worrying about your jury vote.
The idea was good. The idea was good. The execution was not good. He needed to give them real explanation as to why this was a good move for them. Not, this is a good move for you, even though I wouldn't do the same in your position.
It's not a good move, though. Like, it's only a good move for TV. It's only a good movie for TV. Like, it's the same with what happened to you. Laurel voting you out made no sense, but it was great TV. So, like, for the entertainment factor of the audience, yes, that's what we should have seen happen. But, like, as Merlene said, as Ethan said, as Maddie said, I just want to play it safe. I just want to keep it chill. I don't want to do anything stupid right now. Let's just stick with our group and our numbers. And that is the right thing for them to be doing. I don't mind the TK, I won't vote for you if you do this sort of threat. Like, I love that threat. But you need to push her more up against the wall and give her nowhere to go when you're making these threats. That's how you get results.
Did he create the Thomas Kelly TK? I didn't even get that was the same guy in the chat.
Yes, okay. He really is like me with these like threats of I won't vote for you if you don't make a move. That's what I tried that on.
I didn't read the connection.
In the first episode, I didn't get that too, but Thomas Kelly is TK Annabelle.
Oh, sorry, didn't realize. No, look,
that's why we're the brothers.
He should have said that then, CK. He should have said, like, Ethan would have bought that. Like, Matt wouldn't have, but if you'd gone to Ethan and said, mate, do you want to be, this is your one shot. Do you want to be the guy who pagongs to the merge? Or do you want to be an agent of chaos, take charge of this situation, get Matt involved? Then that was the pitch to make. It wasn't. Remember,
Ethan's like, what's a pagonging? What's that?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
But you're right. Ethan gives the highest. He keeps saying he wants to be safe, but he gives the highest chaos vibes. And he's got an advantage in his pocket that he can use when he needs to if he feels he's a bit under threat. So he was pitching to the wrong people. I don't know if is it time we just bring TK in? Like the tribal was a bit whatever, like trouble.
Bring him in.
All right. So my brother from another mother, the CK and the TK, he's here. We've been roasting him, and now he comes to defend himself. Welcome to the ORCA Pod, TK.
Hello. Before I forget, I just need to take off my jacket because there's all these hot takes. Because it's been Max, mate, honestly.
Thank you, TK. I'm trying.
No, it's good, honestly. Like, and you see it from the game. Like, I'm nerding out. I feel like I'm fangirling again. I met Christy, and now I'm meeting the ORCA pod, and I'm just like,
stop it! You know you're an ego-centric group.
No, you got the OG orcas as well. You can get the fill-in orcas. You got the OG orcas.
But I got to be careful because was it Annabel? Was it you when you did the cast reveal and you were like saying, you said, "Oh, TK is a man who likes his money. He gets all those coins from the trolley." My wife was furious when she heard that. She's like, "You can't go on that show." Yeah. Anyway,
what was she furious about?
She's like, "Who's Annabel?" And I'm like, "Oh, she hosts this." Anyway, it's just funny.
Hang on, what was she furious
You're
about?
in the naughty corner, Annabel.
Because Annabel thought I was a rich man. I'm a public school teacher, Annabel. I've got nothing.
Darling, if that's what your wife is getting mad about, then let me talk to all of the other wives I've upset over the last. CK's wife won't talk to me either.
Oh, that's so good.
It runs in the family here. Just the CK vibe.
That's our type of partner.
Yeah. Long lost brothers. I love it.
You played hard. We're doing a little similar. You played hard. How did you, obviously, look, we know you're going to keep playing hard. We know you're going to play hard on the edge. Maybe you come back. Mm-hmm. We don't want to know about that. We'll learn that later if that's the case.
Cool.
What we've seen is that you played hard as you possibly could. Would you say that was a little bit too hard for perhaps where you were, or you were down with the way what you did? Proud of no regrets.
No, I'm 100% proud of. I think even like your takes, it's very clear that there's things that I could have done better. 100% agree. I think there's those moments where we're in the porta potty where you go into the bathroom and you're just thinking, oh, could I have done that better? Oh, I could have said that conversation. And one of the things that I felt in this day was I felt that time pressure. Like you see, I go up to Christy and Lizzie and I'm like, and I'm trying to think, I'm like, what's the best case scenario? Like I don't want to play to survive. I'm trying to set up my mid game. And I'm like, okay, for this to work, if we can get, that flip, or if we can do something here, what's the best case scenario? Because I already felt, I was like, I feel like I'm the next one. People want to take Christy. That makes sense. If I throw Lizzie under the bus, well, that's just one more vote that I'm going to survive. So I want to make sure that if I'm going out, I'm going down swinging. And I wanted to be someone who's entertaining. I was like, I want to be someone who's either hated or loved. I don't want to be in the middle and be like, wait, who's this guy again? That's the game I wanted to play. And even the fact that you said that's good TV, I had that TV mindset. Like I love the show, and then I go, I'm a big fan. I'm like, oh, I'm the biggest fan ever. Someone's like, have you ever played an org? I'm like, what the hell's an org? Like I had no idea what some of this stuff was.
I had never played an org before I went on an LRG, and the people that have played them, it's an advantage. It's an advantage to have practiced, to have just practiced Survivor. Because you think you know what you're doing, but you don't know shit until you get there.
No, I don't know. And that's the thing. It's like you're on TV and you got the remote and you're like, bloody, what's his name? Sean's an idiot. He should have done this. And I'm like, no, TK's an idiot. I'm watching this guy on the TV. I'm like, who does this guy think he is? I'm like, oh, it's me.
You were fun. I think you definitely delivered. Even before the swap and after the swap, you delivered on being one of the most interesting characters. So I'm excited to see you steal John Tan's John Tent over at the edge.
He's John Tan is not salty at all that TK voted him out, and he's going to be happy to hear a very logical explanation of why John Tan went out.
I hope it's logical. I hope I can explain my reasoning rather than just say, "Oh, there's a vomit on my words."
I can't wait. I cannot wait for that moment. To be perfectly honest, it's going to be a highlight at the start of the next episode. Can we go back let's go back to the John vote. You were targeting Danny, is that right? And then it got moved?
Yeah, so what happened? So right at the start, we get the buckets. And then I see that the buckets are separated into two. And then everyone grabs a bucket and I just wait back. Because the game that I wanted to play was one where I'm just observing and paying attention and not being super trigger happy. Didn't really work. And I noticed, very quick, 3 votes. And then I noticed that my bucket's close to like Sam and Luke's. And then I go up to them and I said, oh, so I formed a good relationship with Sam and Luke early on. And then we go to this, we're meeting. We're like, oh yeah, what does everyone think of each other? And everyone's like, oh yeah, everyone's fun. What do you think? Oh, everyone's fun. And no one's like producing a name. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, let's just get the ball rolling. And I'm thinking, okay, who haven't I built that much of a relationship with considering this breakfast? Like I was there second. I was there early. And then I'm like, okay, let's just try Danny. And I'm like, I'm not super set on Danny. I've got no either or. I just wanted to get that conversation started. It's like when you go out to dinner and you're like, where do you want to go? And everyone's like, oh, I don't know. But if you say, I want to go Nando's, then someone can say to you, I don't like chicken. And then that conversation keeps flowing. Yeah. So I was like, if it ends up being Danny, so be it. But I'm more part of that discussion, that discourse, and just to see that's feelers. And if I get voted out because I'm the first person that said a name or one of the first people to say a name, that's okay. I'm okay with that. Like I'd rather.
But you obviously did well because it didn't blow back on you. It didn't like, oh, TK's saying my name, or people are saying to Danny that you were saying her name necessarily in a way that you were targeting her. It moved to John. It wasn't a blowback. So you must have done it in a way and to the right people to not cause that sort of result. So you must have done that well.
That's good. Thank you. And it was funny, like there's a stage where like I tell Danny, I said, hey, like I genuinely want to work with you. I want to repair that relationship. And Danny's like smiling. And I think her face is like smiling, but her eyes are like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to get you. And it's just like, okay.
Well, she actually said, I think it would have blown back if you hadn't swapped.
Yeah.
So she said
it could have blown back on Danny. It could have blown back on Danny. So
it sounds like it wouldn't have been Lizzie if they went back. It would have turned into the TK versus Danny battle. Which would make a lot of sense, to be honest.
That'd be entertaining.
So who were you tightest with? Who were you tightest with on Original Blue?
So I was definitely. So what was interesting was that first challenge, Sam and Luke, and also what blew my mind was with the Easter egg. I end up going off to the right, and Christy's there, and Christy comes and approaches me and starts talking to me, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like I just want to drop and be like, hey, let's go get a coffee, like stuff this, like see you guys later. I just want to like find out more about her and just really understand who she is. And I'm just like, wow. But I'm also in the back of my mind, I'm like, the game I want to play is like a threat game. I want to play a big game. I want to play a ballsy game. Later in the game, the mid to late game, I want to play like a quieter early game. And I was like, not only is Christy going to be good TV, she's also going to be a phenomenal shield. Like, and socially, like you see at the breakfast, we're all there. We're awkward as anything. Like I
like hugging everyone.
But
she walks in and hugs like 16 strangers.
Yeah. And I just watched that and I'm like, oh, wow. Like for anyone to do that, I would have been like, wow, that's incredible.
Do you think you could have done that, TK? Do you think you could have walked in and hugged 16 strangers and that would have been a positive way to start your game?
No, this is COVID. There would have been like, who's this schmuck coming around slobbering on everyone? Yeah.
Yeah, I want to push back on that because I feel like someone is only a shield if they are more so something that you also are. And that they're going to get targeted first. So if she's so socially good that I feel like people are always going to keep her over you, not vote her out over you.
Except if they're at like final 4 or 5, which I think is what TK.
But that's what I'm thinking is I was literally thinking, okay, what's the longer? And prior to weeks of this, you're like, okay, who am I? What type of person do I want to emulate? What type of player do I want to be like? And I'm like, I need to play with threats. And I also think as well, like, what's going to be entertaining to watch? And when you see Christy, and I'm like a mega fan and a Survivor winner, like them playing together, that's going to be entertaining. And just to see me just drool and just like be flabbergasted with this amazing winner.
I like that your whole thoughts about Christy is how do I get myself in this edit more? And it's by standing next to Christy. it's not the edit. It's just like, because for me personally as well, like I
I was like, I want to be that confident guy, because being a confident player goes two ways. It's either the guy that gets to the end and be like, wow, we knew what he was doing, or he's the confident guy who says, I'd hate to go next, and then goes next, which is what I got. So I was, yes.
No shade. I mean, both Max and I were using CK as our douche shield, and look how that ended up for us.
I survived the longest. I lasted the longest. You were my shield.
That's so good. But yeah, no, great point. Absolutely great point.
Yeah, I love TK. Like, it was great. And everything that you said, like the way you portrayed yourself and the way you went out swinging was awesome. Great TV. And
Thank you.
you should be super, super proud with how you went. Obviously, it was cut short. But like the what ifs, like I'm saying now, like I'm hoping you get back in the game just to see how you go if you do come back. But like I was gonna ask you why you didn't want to throw like Lizzie under the bus just to save another round. But your explanation of saying that you want to go out, be that sort of aggressive player, go out with a bang was such a good reasoning towards.
But even if I throw Lizzie under the bus, because it's clear that Christy is social glue. Like, she's going to survive, and I want to play with Christy. And if I throw Lizzie, I'm going to the next vote. So I need to set up a way to get me through like 3 votes. And the way that I do that is by jumping over or by getting Reds to join.
Yeah.
And if I get Reds to join, then I've set up 2 votes, right? Because we've got a 2. And there's a clear crack. That's the other thing that's really important, is there's the 2 girls and the 2 guys. And that is so clear to me. Like, everyone can see it. They're like, we're a type 4. I'm like, you're not a type 4. You're a 2 and 2. Like, everyone can see that. So if you can get that 2 to flip, they're also going to be more likely to flip confidently. Because if for that 1 to split, that's hard to do. But for that 2 to split from a 2, that's easier. So that was I saw that opportunity. I saw that crack. And I'm like, if this is a 1% chance for me to get 99% better, that's better than a 99% chance to get me 1% better.
I know I'm the king of shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but if you were in that position again, how would you word it or approach it differently? If you had the opportunity to talk to Jazz and Merlene and Matt and Ethan, like if you were to go back and discuss, would you word it differently? I would have
slipped them a 50.
Okay.
Were you putting work the strategy that we saw, and we were saying before, you were saying it to the wrong person because you were saying it to Merlene and Jazz, I think, and not Matt and Ethan. Was there a similar conversation with Matt and Ethan that we just didn't see?
100%. And it was just this, like, I've got to go. And the time pressure, I cannot express that feeling. And I don't have a watch. Like, I'm a teacher. My life tells me, like, there's a big bell every hour that tells me there's an hour past. Like, and I don't have a watch. I don't have a school bell. I don't have my laptop. And it's like, oh, you got 20 minutes. I'm like, what does 20 minutes mean? And I'm like, I can see that, I'm a dead man walking. Okay, I got to move. I got to be a bit aggressive. I've got to have this opportunity. The only thing that I think about, which is interesting, I think, is that Jazz and I were the first 2 players there.
Okay.
So there was a relationship that we had. We'd already spoken. Now, I didn't really use any of that information or any of that relationship from earlier to my advantage. I think I just sort of saw Jazz as red and me as blue, rather than, okay, maybe socially, like, we've got some stuff here. We're both educators. Like, maybe
there were a few teachers in the game. Like, I thought that if you figured that out, there might be possibility of something.
And that's why I was like quite close to Luke, because I looked at Luke and I'm like, this guy's one of my colleagues. Like this guy is a clone. And I was like, okay.
Not only are they teachers, but don't forget, Ethan's still in school. So I mean, that could have been a real great connecting point well.
No, it was great. We had like kids puzzles. We were doing soccer in PE. It felt like a day at work just for me.
And you nearly gave Ethan a timeout and attention.
Oh, I thought I wanted to. Yeah, but he's graffiti.
You fought so hard in that soccer challenge. You had so many saves.
I hated it too, because literally they're like, I see this football thing, and I'm like, I need to win this point, because these guys could throw it. I'm in that opportunity where I've got to do all the work. I'm forced to. I'm forced to play this as best as I can. Like, I hate PE. I was that fat kid that would throw up after a few laps. I wasn't that fat kid. I still am that fat kid. Like, I teach my kids PE and I've got to go have a puffer and a drink of water.
You did well though. You were aggressively.
No, thank you. I was impressed, but I think that was adrenaline. And and I had a lot of it. But Joseph took his shirt off. Sorry. He took his jumper off.
Joseph, it was in reflection, and I didn't think about this at the time, but Joseph was in the same position as you potentially, where he was on the minority number, so he was equally fighting super hard to win his point. So that's probably why that matchup was probably the best of them all. And we said that it was because you were both competing so hard for your point.
It's true. That's very true.
I'm just going to bring up some of the positive things that everyone's saying about you in the chat. Danny's excited to see you, as is Eli. Schneider from Schneider Racing is
Schneider! We love
he's
you,
our biggest fan.
Bless, thank you.
Eli's finally decided we look like each other. Mel, it says balls to the walls. You got some flames from Sam Green. Aston says you were his winner pick. He also says that I'm great at orgs. Thank you for that.
I guess that you somehow see.
Now that one in.
Did you see as well? I can't believe it made the edit, but I was talking about intentional Matt Singh. And I was like, I wonder how many people are gonna get this. And it made the edit. And I'm like, I go home and I call my wife and I'm like, hey, this is like awesome, this is so much fun. And you're like, how was it? I'm like, yeah, I got to use the words like blindsides and voted out and I've split and like all the cool survivor words, and I'm just loving it. And it's so funny. And this was part of my problem as well. Because I was next to Jazz, I'm just talking to Jazz as a fan. And she's hearing strategic threat. And I'm just like information fan blubbering. So even stuff like that's probably one thing I would have changed as well, is just like being a bit more chill and rather just a little.
Did you know many super fans, like a lot of your friends super fans, or have you made super fan friends from this?
So in terms of my friends, I'm the biggest fan out of all my friend groups. So I watch it with my wife's family. So when like Australia's on, we'll watch it on like a Sunday night, which is great. I'd say that I started my relationship with my wife because of Survivor. Like I watched Tony and Sarah in Cagayan, and we do the Cops Are Us high five. So that's our little thing.
Really? So she's your wife's a big fan too?
No, she just really likes me.
That's great. I love that.
But we do the coolest thing I've done, and this is one thing I was blabbering about, was I did a Survivor program at work. So we had kids, they weren't voting each other out because that'd be pretty cool. But we made like idols, we had like competitions, we had like voting music. They voted for a winner rather than voting people out. And that was just awesome. And I did lessons on the physics of Survivor challenges in Minecraft. So I love Survivor. Everyone who knows me knows I love Survivor.
Malcolm, who is in Canberra Survivor, who is also a primary school teacher, also runs Survivor with his students.
Yeah, that's sick. I saw that. Yes, I will. I've got my brother CK, and then I've got my work colleague Malcolm, and it's just it's an awesome world.
I love that story, TK. That's great.
I really understand what you mean about the strategy and being super excited. I didn't have any friends who watched Survivor before I went on Survivor. I've been watching it for 20 years. And so when we were around the campfire and we had plenty of time to chat, I intended not to reveal, like, I assumed everyone there was a super fan, but like how big of a fan. And I recall we got into really obscure games of like, which Survivor am I thinking about? And just without even clues, so people just throwing out.
Still better than Chloe's campfire games.
So I know where you're coming from, and that's part of what's great is you get to play these games and make new friends that share the love of the passion of the thing that we're all passionate about. Have you made a lot of great friendships out of the people you played with post game?
Oh, for sure. Oh no, honestly, there's no. Everyone that I played with, and it was great, and I found it really challenging because I am like quite a trusting person. I am quite a compassionate, and I like try to be friendly and nice. So it was weird, like going into a game where I'm like, okay, people are gonna like vote me out, or people are gonna lie to me, and I'm gonna need to lie to people because that's not. I'm nothing like that. Like I'm a teacher, although I do lie to kids. Sorry. So that sounds weird out of context. Like
this math is really important. You're going to use this later in life.
Yeah. Swearing is bad for you. And then I forgot what I was saying. Oh, yeah. And it was No, about friends. Yeah, and some of it's really cool. Like Danny and I have been working on the socials together, and I always think it's this funny relationship where I went up to Danny and I was like, oh, we should vote out Danny. But now we're working really closely on the Sydney Survivor social media, and that's like a real blessing. And it's good to just have like these random chats or like, oh, that was a great episode of Survivor. So I'm just stoked. People who talk about Survivor have a special place in my heart, and it's great to meet.
Mel's going to hook you up.
Yeah, please, Mel. That'd be cool. I'll take it.
TK, if I post you an envelope of gold coins, do you think that would make things up with your wife?
Look,
For the trolley.
All I'm hoping,
gold coins for the trolley.
Oh shoot! Look, we take all the money we could get, but I think I'll just get some footage. I'll get some footage of her opening these coins.
Please send it to me. We can
we'll
make
show it on.
that.
We'll
I
show
think
it on
my
the
relationship's still salvageable. It's definitely more
it's great.
salvageable than
It's
my relationship with
It's
TK's
fun.
wife.
It's fun.
When she was asking you, who is this Annabelle chick? Who does she think she is? Is that the gist of what was going on? Were you like, she's on Traders season 2 and she got to play with Luke Toki, so I respect what she says now. Do you know that, TK? That Annabelle's on Traders season 2?
That's part of the Sydney Survivor chat. It's like, did you see Annabelle's on this? And it's like, oh, what? And everyone's excited. Like, everyone supports the fans. Everyone's mad to be part of it.
Everyone's going to lose their mind. People are losing their mind over someone they vaguely know that's on this crazy 100-person island game.
Yes.
Everyone's going to lose their mind for Annabelle on
$1 Million Island stan here. Everyone tune in. It's great.
I think he's going to get axed, to be honest. But let us get real. So you sound like you had an amazing experience. It was everything you wanted it to be. Obviously, still could be more. We're still going to see you, which is exciting. And, you know, I actually was probably thinking maybe of the 3 people there, you might have the best ability to get back in, but you've self-described yourself as the unfit bad sports kid.
But here's what I like about Survivor is that there are challenges where it's not always the fittest, it's not always the fastest, it's not always the strongest person that wins. And all it is making sure, and all I'm saying, special education teacher, I saw that kid's puzzle. I'm hoping it's happened again.
CK, I think like you are my hot favorite to return to the game at the moment. And I hope you do, genuinely.
Excellent. We'll see. Oh, I'm excited.
I know. Oh, it's exciting. I usually ask this question, but what was the best part of your experience? Obviously, if you do make it back into the game, please don't give us spoilers.
We call this Max's feel good corner.
So I'll say
this is my little section here. This is like the what did you obviously for a lot of us this is the coolest experience that we're going to have to playing, like the closest experience we're going to have to actually playing Survivor. And we know that there are a lot of different franchises in Australia now, and all of them are great in their own way. What was your takeaway from this experience in your words, CK? I'd love to hear.
I think so. I'm trying to think. So until I'll say for the first 3 episodes.
That's a good little clue potentially.
Yeah, sorry, but I'll say so far.
No, because there's with JT.
Because there's edge stuff. There's edge stuff. Probably the one thing that I thought was hilarious was I was the dickhead that goes up to Eli at the end and I say, "Hey Eli, do you have like the votes that I got? Because I want Christie's." So I took Christie's autograph or reverse autograph. I took that home.
Dude, I wouldn't really care about keeping the votes that I got for me. Max has his votes.
I have mine. I like those things too, TK. I love those little things.
And
when I was voted out, I went and got them for Max and CK. It's true.
And I think as well, sweet. Like just to hang out with like fans was just a blessing. And there were genuine moments where I just like forgot we were like playing a game, and it just felt like these people who were just, because I love that. Like I'm a massive person about community. I love community. I love when people get together about something like that. Just makes me feel so good. So just to meet these people, and it was weird because it's like, am I reading this right? Are these people actually like nice and caring? And you get to the end and you meet some of these people and it's just this feeling of like, oh wow, like these are some really genuine people who really care about the game, who really care about each other. And that's the thing. Like, I knew that if I fall down, people write my name out, but if I fell over, they'd pick me up.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the people who want to play against, and that's the people who like I'd love to beat, but I'm glad people who beat me. Like,
Sam's
you're
a
the
fan.
best, Sam.
We're all a fan.
Yeah,
We love you,
I'm even more sold on the TK bandwagon.
Me too.
What an answer.
I
That
know.
was
Get
what
on
a
it.
way
Hop
to
on it.
what a way to say.
Not many tickets.
Honestly, great outlook on the whole aspect of community. Which at the end of the day, that's what Survivor
And
is
even
at this level.
This was cool as well. So I wasn't on the shortlist for the cast. So I was on crew. So about a week earlier, Eli messages me and he's like, "Hey man, do you want a spot?" And I think I was going to break my phone with how fast I like replied to that message.
Yeah.
So I was
Awesome.
just stoked to go and watch this, and let alone to play. So yeah, it's a blessing, and you got to make the most of it. And that's how I approach life.
That's sick. Well, you're genuinely established within the Australian LRG community in terms of the super fans that we have out there, and I'm sure you have fans across all franchises, not just Sydney, not just us who are watching, but a lot of people out there. So it's great. I hope you come back in. Genuinely, I'm not going to say that to everyone else who gets eliminated. You're my number one pick so far.
Oof.
So I'm going to keep it at that.
There's a lot of fanboying going on.
You sold
okay,
TK.
Should they make out? At risk of upsetting TK's wife more, should they make out?
People say that I look like TK, but I actually think that me what he actually looks like is if you like face merged me and Max together.
I'm the love child. I'm the love child of Max.
And so he's got like the strategic stuff, but he's like a much nicer guy as well, like Max. So he really is like the merger of the two of us.
I love this for
us. I'm vibing it.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you all. Thank you for what you guys do and all.
No, we love doing it. And thank you to everyone in the comments. Next week, we will probably actually be on Wednesday because I am sleeping out somewhere.
CEO sleep out for Mr.
CEO sleep out
in Adelaide.
Yeah, so I'll be lying in a basketball court somewhere with my super expensive sleeping bag that I brought to Survivor. Just like the homeless do it. Anyway, so I will be out there on the Thursday raising money for charity, but also networking. So I'm doing that. So that's Thursday. So we are going to have the show on next Wednesday. We back to back with the honorary Orcas on Tuesday, covering Melbourne Survivor, the penultimate episode. And then for those that live in Melbourne or are going to be in Melbourne in a couple of weeks, the final of Melbourne Survivor is being aired live finale, live reunion. I will be there, so it is worth your trip. All right. So, and Annabel will be there too, and Max with all it takes.
I might be there. No, I'll be there.
We'll all be there. So make sure if you live in Melbourne or you're going to be around in Melbourne, or maybe Sam Green's going to just organize another work trip just to be down there conveniently, do it. We hope to see you there. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Thank you for continuing to support Australian LRG, Sydney Survivor, and the ORCA Pod. We love you all, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, TK. Thanks, CK, Annabelle.